Hello everyone, welcome to today's session where we're going to look at the essay Third Thoughts by E.V.Lucas. This essay is from Phantom Journal, which is published in 1919, and this essay illustrates many of the qualities of Lucas as an essayist, as it was often said about Lucas that, like Hudson, he was observant, like Lamb, he was friendly and humorous, and while reading the text, we will see his mastery over simple and graceful prose style, his gentle and delightful humor, and his insight into human nature. And if you see the title of this essay, Third Thoughts, then this is inspired by this idiom, second thoughts, which means the opinions formed after consideration or reconsideration. Then, third thoughts, this phrase third thoughts would mean the opinions formed after repeated reconsideration. So, this was about the title. And to give you an overview of the narrative, I can say that this essay or this narrative is a gentle satire on human weakness for money. It actually exposes that man is basically selfish and materialistic, who can change or who can consider, reconsider, and even change his noble and ideal thoughts for the sake of money. And he does it so in his daily social behavior. And this essay also gives us a deep insight into business psychology and philosophy of the world of trade and commerce. So let's begin the reading of the text. I'm reading it where Lucas writes, "This story was told to me by a friend." So it's clear after reading this very first line that at the very beginning, Lucas has made it clear that this essay or this narrative has been told to him by one of his friends. So we can say or we can see that the narrator of this essay would be the friend of Lucas. So the further lines are spoken or told by Lucas' friend, where he says, "It is my destiny," said he, "to buy in the dearest markets and to sell, if I succeed in selling at all, in the cheapest." So this first line tells very clearly that Lucas' friend was the man, or Lucas' friend is the man who has a very unfortunate business transaction, or who has a very unfortunate career in business, in his business, because what happens with him, usually what happens with him, that he purchases at dearest markets, means he purchases the things at expensive rates, and if I succeed in selling at all, and anyhow if he manages to sell those things which he has purchased at high rates, that if he is able to sell them, then too he has to sell them anyhow, he has to sell them in the cheapest. So that's why he is not a successful businessman. Then next line, "Usually, indeed, having tired of a picture or a decorative article, I have positively to give it away." Here we can have a hint that the narrator is, or the Lucas friend is dealing in decorative items, and positively when he has to give it away, when he has to get rid of that item which he has purchased on high rates, when he has to dispose it of, then what happens with him? "I have positively it to give it away, almost to make its acceptance by another a personal favor to me." And this when this scene creates with him, when he has to anyhow sell that item which he has bought on at high rate, or very expensive, very costly item he has bought already, when he has to give it away, the scene creates that if there is any purchaser who accepts to purchase his item, then he feels and it seems to him it that that purchaser is doing any kind of special favor to him by accepting that material, from which he has to now get rid of, because because nobody is taking it and he has bought it. So this is what the plight of Lucas' friend, who is a businessman, we can say, or who is dealing, who is especially buying and selling decorative items. But the other day was marked by an exception to this rule. So now he is talking about one fortunate day when something happens which was very different, when which was, we can say, the exception to this rule, which rule we have now only discussed in detail. The rule that he has to take, he has to purchase whatever he buys or at high rates or very expensive he buys, and he has to sell it very at very cheap rate. One day what happens, one day an exceptional deal he did to this rule, so striking, it was so striking that I have been wondering if perhaps the luck has not changed, and I am, after all, destined to be that most enviable thing. A successful dealer means there was a day when he had put through a successful deal, when he got a huge profit, or a high profit when he got by a deal. So what was that deal? Let's see. It happened thus. How it happened? It happened thus. In drifting about the old curiosity shops of a cathedral city, I came upon a portfolio of watercoloring drawings. So he's saying that how it happened in drifting. Drifting means during his wanderings. During his wanderings about the old curiosity shops. Curiosity shops are pawn shops selling and buying rare and interesting things. So at those curiosity shops he was wandering about there of a cathedral city. I came upon, he saw a portfolio of watercolor drawings, and out of them, amidst those old drawings, among which was one that to my eye would have a possible Turner. Amidst them, there was one drawing which attracted his attention, which drew his attention, and he thought that this drawing might have, or this drawing might belong to Turner. Turner here, this name Turner. Turner was an English romanticist, a celebrated landscape painter who was famous for his watercolor techniques. So in this way, he thought that this drawing might belong to Turner. Might be genuine, or it might be by a genuine or real Turner. It might be original, even if an earlier owner had not shared that opinion. So as it was at some of the curiosity shops, where interesting materials we can find, it might be original or not, it depends. So he is saying that even if the earlier owner, the previous owner who had bought this drawing might not believe, or he had not believed that it belongs to the original or the real Turner, that opinion or hope, and set the magic name with all its initials. But here the narrator is saying that even if an earlier owner had not shared that opinion, he did not believe. That's why he has set it, he has kept it and at curiosity shop. But I regarded that, he is telling about his experience, that I regarded that drawing or painting that it might be by genuine Turner or real Turner, or hope and set the magic name, because there was the magic name. Magic name is here the name of Turner, this celebrated painter, with all its initials so often placed in the wrong order beneath it. Now there was an initials in a name of Turner so often placed in the wrong order, though it was in wrong order, because Turner full name was Joseph Mallord William Turner, and the narrator, the hero of our story, is saying that that I also noticed that they were placed in wrong order. The name was not in proper order, but then too I regarded it might be by Turner, by the original Turner, real Turner. How much is this? I asked scornfully. Then he asked the dealer about its price, and he asked it scornfully, means carelessly, and he did it so deliberately that because he was pretending to conceal his opinion about the picture. That's why he was showing his uninterest. He was showing his hesitance in purchasing the picture, which was in suspicion that is it belong to Turner or not. So that's why he deliberately showing his uninterest to the dealer, that how though he internally he was ready to take it, but he was showing his uninterest or hesitance to the dealer. I asked scornfully. Well, said the dealer, if it were a genuine Turner, it would be worth anything. So this line clearly shows that the dealer himself doesn't know what that is it by Turner or not, but he also tells the narrator that if it would be by Turner, it would its worth would be very high. It will be very costly. But let's say 10 shillings, because he's saying if it were a genuine Turner, it would be worth anything. It any cost. It can be very of high cost, but let's say 10 shillings. But then he demanded 10 shillings. You can have it for that, but I don't mind if you don't, because I am going to London next week and should take it with me to get an opinion. So but the dealer said that if you want to take it, then it's okay, but you won't, then I won't mind, because I am planning to take it with me to London, and I will get an opinion there that whether this painting belongs to real Turner or not. I pondered. Now he was here again. The narrator is just showing off. He is that he is thinking over it, that he should take it or not, because he was because he was showing his uninterest to the dealer. Because if he would have jumped uh, at the picture and bought it at once, then the dealer might have suspected about the opinion of the uh, narrator, of the buyer, who is narrator here, and he might have demanded much price, and or he might have cancelled its selling. That's why he was pondering over. He was showing that he's deliberately now here thinking over. He was showing this attitude to the dealer. Mind you, I don't guarantee it, he added, and dealer added again that I'm not giving you any assurance that it belongs to the real Turner. I gave him the 10 shillings, but ultimately, as we know, that what he wanted to buy it actually. So he paid for the picture 10 shillings and purchased it. By what incredible means I found a purchaser for the drawing at £50, there is no need to tell. So as it was his exceptional deal, so the picture turned out to be by real Turner, and he became, or he sold that picture for £50. Incredible. To the narrator's surprise, he found a purchaser for the drawing, and he sold the picture for £50. There is no need to tell. For the point of this narrative resides not in bargaining with collectors, but in bargaining with my own soul. These lines are perfectly telling us here that this essay, Third Thoughts, is not this point of this narrative. This essay is not about about these things, that how the hero of our story, how the narrator is bargaining with collectors of rare things at curiosity shops. But this essay is about that how the narrator is bargaining with his own soul, how the narrator is haggling with his own soul, with his generous intentions. So let's see how he is haggling with his own soul, with his benevolence, with his general and noble thoughts, generous and noble thoughts throughout the narrative. The astonishing fact remains that I achieved a profit of 49 pounds 10 and was duly elated. So this was very surprising fact for him, because at perhaps it was his first successful deal where he has got a huge profit of 49 pounds and 10 shillings, and he was highly elated by this. I then began to think. So then thereupon, after this, the narrator's thoughts ran thus. Now he began to think, and his thoughts ran thus, that the dealer in that little street by the cathedral west door, he ought to participate in this. So, being an ethical man, now here the narrator is thinking or pondering over the fact that after all it was the dealer who had given him that picture at such a nominal price, and he is able to now have a huge profit, or he is in his good fortune due to the dealer. So he decided he ought to participate in this, so he decided to share his profit with the dealer. He behaved very well to me, and I ought to behave well to him, and it would be only fair to give him half. Now we can here sense or notice that in his first flush of thoughts, it was his first flush of thought, or we can say in the mood of generous benevolence, now he has decided to give the give to make the dealer sharer of his profit, and that to half of his profits he is ready to give, or he thinks that he should send half of his profits to the dealer. Thereupon I sat down and wrote a little note saying that the potential Turner drawing, which no doubt he recollected, had turned out to be authentic, and I had great pleasure in enclosing him half of the proceeds, as I considered that the only just and decent course. So he thought that it is only the nice way of dealing. So that's why, after having decided this, that he would make the dealer sharer of his profit, he sat down and wrote a short note about his successful business transaction, and then he wrote about his plan to make the dealer sharer of his profits, and how he was very much happy and it was a great pleasure. So after writing everything, that whatever he has decided to make the dealer a sharer of his profits, what happened, having no stamps and the hour being late, I did not post this and went to bed. But he was at that time, he was not having stamps and he was already late by an hour, so he could not post that and he went to bed. So here I am wrapping up today's lecture. In the following session, we will complete this essay, and before that I hope and encourage you to read the complete essay for the proper understanding. And that's all for today. I look forward to see you in the next session. Thank you for now.